Hello there, my lovelies. Welcome back to my channel, Boomy Reactions. For those of you who are new, my name's Boomy, and thank you very much for watching. Okay, so we're going to kick off today with some Lost in the Pond. I feel like I haven't seen a video from Laurence in a long, long time. So today's video is called, oh gosh, this is dangerously vague, this title. 6 English mistakes Americans make that Brits don't. Okay. I think that might be a bit of a divisive title. Mistakes. Okay, so we're talking about English, specifically the English language. Okay, we spell things differently. I don't think that's a mistake. I can't think off the top of my head what Laurence is actually referring to. I was going to say, oh my gosh, are we talking culturally? I don't know, like mannerisms. Like the only one that would maybe make me think it could be a foreseen issue, but not really an issue, is you guys are generally a lot warmer than we are. So maybe assuming, if you were to come over to the UK or Europe, maybe assuming that, you know, we're all open to small talk and friendly chit chat with strangers. Just a heads up, not everyone is. I personally am. I love chatting away to people I don't know. Okay, but no, we're talking specifically about the English language. Okay. The only thing I can think is that we spell things differently, but then again, I don't think that's a mistake, because I think the way that you guys spell a lot of words, just it actually kind of makes sense. Like we put an awful lot of U's, like in the word colour or favourite, you know. Does that you really need to be there? Oh my gosh, I can hear the pitchforks being sharpened by British people. Okay, I'm interested now. What is considered mistakes? I'm confused. Anyway, guys, if you're enjoying these reactions, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, my lovelies. If you're interested, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account. That link is over here. And if you would like to help support my channel any further, I have a Patreon account. And if you want to check that out at all, that link is in the description below there. Okay, Laurence, tell me, what do you mean?
Language mistakes. Now, let's face it, we all make them. I mean, heck, my British teacher corrected me on my 9-year-old spelling of the word favourite because I was so excited by my visit to Florida that I apparently misspelled the word the American way. And the experience of living extensively in both countries has taught me that both Brits and Americans sometimes misspell definitely.
I'm going to hold my hands up here, guys. I'm a terrible speller. So the idea of, you know, dropping certain letters in words to make them sound, I don't know, more phonetically correct, or providing easier spellings for school children. I'm kind of in favour of that, do you know? I know Brits generally don't like changing the status quo. Couldn't get my words out. I think things can be changed if there's a good enough reason to. Okay, again, I'm a terrible speller.
Fuse there, and there, and say Pacific instead of specific. But I've found that certain mistakes show up more regularly in the United States. And before you all lose your blooming minds, this is not poking fun at Americans. It's just language errors that aren't probable in British English, because we don't always have the same dialectal properties as America.
And I would argue that a lot of those mistakes are regularly done by British people. I know an awful lot of Brits that say, my sister is one of them actually, that instead of saying specifically, they say pacifically.
Well, you'll be thrilled to know that the last entry on this list is poking fun at America, so stay tuned for that. And if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, do that now. In the meantime, here are 6 English mistakes that Americans are more likely to make than British people. I don't know if you noticed, but in comment sections of things like YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, spelling mistakes are highly popular, and one that I occasionally see among American users is, instead of writing the phrase, with all due respect, they might write, with all due respect. And you might all be confused. Laurence.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the mistake there. With all due respect. With all due, but I would say Brits pronounce it the same as do, with all due respect. maybe that's a regional difference though. Maybe that in the UK specifically, maybe that is like an accent differentiation thing. I've heard plenty of people saying, with all due respect. It is meant to be with all due respect, okay? But oh, now it's in my head. I don't. With all due, I would say due. But now I'm saying it aloud. It does sound very over pronunciated, doesn't it? With all due respect.
They sounded exactly the same, and that is part of why this error occurs.
Okay.
See, in an American accent, I was saying all due respect
Due.
versus all due respect.
Okay,
the
I
second
see
of
it.
those obviously being incorrect.
But I
Now,
bet
in
a lot of
Britain,
Brits
we're less
don't know
likely
it's
to
due.
make this error
They
in
say
the
due.
written form because we usually distinguish between the two sounds, due and do. Because the
But a lot of Brits do say with all, or they say due instead of due, like that. That it kind of turns into a u, due, with all due respect.
two words are usually homophones in American English. It's easy to see why this error occurs. And sometimes they can have pretty hilarious results. Take, for example, the sentence, Laurence denied that he was scantily clad during his most recent live stream. We're still fighting that. But I've seen people on the internet confusedly write scandally clad. Now, before I get into the reasons as to why this one is more likely in American English, I want to point out that this is an example of an egg corn. What's an egg corn, Laurence? What? An egg corn is a word that comes about due to the mishearing or misunderstanding of an original word, in this case acorn, that nonetheless sort of retains the original meaning.
Like the word tragedy, would that fall under this as well? Like I don't know why. It always sounds bizarre when I say it. Like I keep going to say tragedy, and I don't know why, because it's not tragedy. Oh, it's tragedy. I don't think I've ever seen it spelled differently or pronounced differently. Maybe that's just a Boomy specific one, actually. I'm trying to think of another one. Granted.
Acorn is sort of egg-shaped, and being scantily clad does come with its own scandal, believe me. So what's going on? Well, Americans are more likely to make this mistake for a very simple reason. When speaking fast or informally, Americans will substitute the T in the middle of the word for a D sound, like as in water instead of water. And so this results in the words scantily and scandally sounding more or less the same. If all them creatures in the Yogi Bear show can be scandally clad, why can't I? It's alright, this is actually just me. That's not alright either, is it? And homophone confusion reminds me of
look at a young Laurence!
a time that I took a job in Indianapolis in which I graded middle school test papers. And perhaps the most common error that I saw while doing that was students writing then instead of than, as in Laurence is probably more American than he used to be.
Now, this is another one that we suffer with in the UK as well. I don't think there's that much difference here. I think youngsters and adults alike, actually, you know, looking on Facebook and you can see comment sections and people regularly confuse the two or misspell them or whichever it is. Or maybe don't understand when to use either. I'm not sure where the confusion comes from, either or. But yeah, I've seen plenty of Brits confuse this.
There has to have been at least one student that sounded like a presenter from NPR. Anyway, something that I've noticed is that some Americans say the words then and than the exact same way, to where I didn't even want to correct the students. Sod accurate grammar, you're fine. That said, I could probably find an example in here of me making the same error in Britain, but as somebody who spends a lot of time on American social media, I can tell you that the mistake happens here far more commonly. Oh, than, there we go. A set of countries with more than 3 neighbours. So I was doing fine, and as a Texan philosopher once said, I misunderestimated myself. A few weeks ago, when I talked about grammar quirks that were specific to American English, one that I raised was the phrase, I already ate. Now, there's nothing grammatically incorrect about that. It is true. If somebody says, Laurence, are you hungry? No, I already ate. That makes sense. When the grammar becomes dubious is when Americans say, I have already ate. Grammar Nazis will slap you on the wrist for using the word ate in the present perfect tense. So why is this mistake more likely in America? Well, because in Britain, we are taught to say, I have already eaten, which is the correct use of the present perfect tense. And so it's less natural for us to error into I have already ate, because we're not using the word ate to begin with.
Now, I would argue and say maybe I think younger generations are more likely to say I already ate. So we've even dropped the I have or the I've. It's just I already ate. I've heard that plenty of times. I'm pretty sure my children come out with that one. So maybe it's a younger generation thing. I'm not inclined to say it that way. Like Laurence says, maybe we're taught to say the same phrase just differently. So I would say, I've already eaten. Okay.
I've just remembered my Uncle Toby, who's really northern, would used to say, I've already ate, which is northern for ate. So it occasionally happens, but again, way more common in American English. Here's one that's not going to make a lot of listicles out there, but is one that I'm fascinated by. Americans, in my experience, are more likely to misspell the word glamour. And for British people going, oh yeah, that's because that dictionary dude changed all of the O-U-R spellings to O-R. Why are you singling out glamour, Laurence? Do you have something against the entertainment industry that you're a part of? A little bit. But I've chosen to discuss the word glamour with you today because it's an exception that proves the rule. While US spelling reform did overhaul words like behaviour to incorporate an OR spelling, there were one or two exceptions to this rule. Glamour. Perhaps the most notable is the word glamour, which is typically spelled with the OUR suffix in both Britain and the United States. And here's where things get completely and utterly a little bit impressive, because this wasn't some accident or weird quirk of history, it was done by design. You see, American lexicographers changed most OUR words to OR words because this is how they were originally spelled in Latin. But glamour was different. Glamour had no presence in Latin, which is weird when you consider how seriously the Romans took their hair. In fact, it originated much later via Scottish English. And so, to differentiate it from those Latin-derived words, American English kept the spelling of glamour that is still used in Scotland and indeed Britain today. So
glamour. I did not know that. It's a Scottish word. There's me saying, yes, it's French.
Then why, Laurence, have you observed Americans misspelling this word? Because despite the fact that this word came through its entire journey across the Atlantic Ocean completely unedited, some Americans either don't know that or feel strongly that it should be in line with words like favour, flavour and collar. To be fair, perhaps in part to this, the OR variant is now accepted by most American English dictionaries. In Britain, this is not a common issue because all of our OUR words are spelled OUR, obviously. And glamour is no exception. And finally, we come to that one that every British person, and in my experience, some Americans think is completely and utterly a little bit back to front. And that, of course, is when Americans say, I could care less, instead of, I couldn't care less. As in, I couldn't care less that I'm filming this part in a different location to the rest of the video. I needed a thumbnail that looked good. Now, you don't need me to do a David Mitchell-style rant on the subject because he's already done it.
I love David Mitchell.
Can't care nothing if I could care less.
Obviously saying I could care less to denote your utter indifference to something makes no logical sense. But that probably hasn't stopped 200 naysayers from writing that very phrase in the comment section below. And
that is, I've not heard that one. I naturally just assumed that's the saying on both sides of the Atlantic. I couldn't care less. Because if you could care less, then it's not really making that much of a statement because it's like, well, I could care less. Shall I? But if you say like, I couldn't care any less. I don't know. Oh, okay. I didn't even know this was a thing.
Between you and I, between you and me and you, nor could I, neither could I. I'm with you on this. In fact, I have a slightly different take on this to a lot of British people. I think English on either side of the Atlantic is full of phrases that make no logical sense, and yet we use them anyway. For instance, subscribers are always telling me, Laurence, I'm head over heels in love with your channel. And I have to tell them, thank you, but contrary to the image that you might have of being head over heels, we are in fact commonly head over heels, like me right now. My head is here and my heels are down there. So I think to Americans, I could care less is less about the semantics and more about the feeling. Language is language, mistakes are mistakes, and we all make them. And if this video does well, we'll look at some of the ones that only British people make. In the meantime, here's that video on American grammar quirks that I spoke about earlier. You'll watch that next. And until next time, goodbye. Language.
I'm regularly corrected by viewers, subscribers, patrons, for my incorrect grammar and use of incorrect words and phrases. Yeah, we're just as guilty of it in the UK, if not, I would say, arguably, maybe more than. A common one No, it's not a north and south thing. I think it is just across the UK, but it's generally, it sounds so snooty to say, I think it's generally associated with kind of lower class slang. I hate using that phrase, it sounds awful, but it's the pronunciation of the th sound, th. I've done it again, I've said H instead of H, th. So the, and a fair few Brits will say f instead. So thing becomes fing. Oh, really hard F with the teeth. Fing. Oh gosh, my braces make that sound so much worse. That's just one off the top of my head. And I don't think, is that a mispronunciation that you hear in the US? It's definitely one widespread here in the UK. And we have many. And yeah, I'm regularly corrected on my grammar. We're not perfect, are we? Guys, I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. I've just done it again. Watching that along with me. That makes no sense. Watching along with me. Take care of yourselves, my lovelies. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.